you are expressing how you feel at that time, even if they're not necessarily autobiographical. They're sort of saying what you like and how you're feeling. And I think, yes, that's very true of my albums. I think of everyone's, really. 11 or 12, I used to just sort of tinker around with this. My father had this old organ out in the barn, this church organ, and all the mice used to eat the stops. So each day there'd be one less because they'd have chewed their way through it. Sort of. And I eventually moved on into the piano in the house. And really until I got to about 13, I suppose, I wasn't actually, getting... my brothers also had this huge store of old singles that they'd collected, and that was brilliant because I could hear all these records that I'd never heard before that were, hits from, a few years back. And that was brilliant. All this wealth of material just sitting there that I wouldn't have heard otherwise.
Out on the winding, windy moors, we'd roll and fall in green. You had a temper like my jealousy, too hard, too greedy. How could you leave me when I needed to possess you? I hated you, I loved you too. Bad dreams in the night. He told me I was going to lose the fight. Leave behind my walking through the high sea. See, I can't see, I come home by. So let me know. Easy. It's me, I can't see, I come home by. So let me know. It gets dark, it gets lonely on the other side of you. I find the lost, forced to without you. Coming back now, cool Houston, my one dream, my only master. Till I around in the night, coming back to his side to push fights, coming home to walking through the high sea. It's me, I can't see, I come home by. So let me know. Easy. It's me, I can't see, I come home by. So let me know.
Are you an aggressive business person? We hear stories that on the first album, a very young Kate Bush insisted Wuthering Heights be the first single against some resistance. Is that true, and are you, in fact, very aggressive about your business?
I don't know if I'm aggressive about my business, but I do, a lot of the time, feel strongly about what I want or how I want to see it presented. It is an expression of me at some point, and it seems wrong that as soon as it goes out into the world, it should leave me and my expression behind. Wuthering Heights, I felt, was a much more interesting single than perhaps some that were being suggested at that time. And I just felt it was a good idea at the time to hang out for it. I did feel strongly about it.
Certainly paid off. Number one record in the UK, yes indeed. You suffered a fate in the early goings of your career of being somewhat of a pin-up girl in the British pop mags. How did you deal with that?
I think what worried me was that it was going to stop people taking my music seriously. I've always found it very complimentary if people say that they find me attractive. And my worry is really that it would get in the way of my music. It's not that I find that so much of a problem as that people wouldn't accept my music. But I don't think that that has been a problem. I think people do seem to accept my music for its sake.
And does your sexuality have a role in your music?
Well, I think that's something I find very confusing, because I think the essence of all art is sensuality and sexuality. I mean, I don't suppose I understand it fully, but I always tend to think that's something that's projected, and that sensuality is really where art is at. It's a much more subtle form of expression.
It seems to me that a lot of the early songs that you wrote had to do with what I might call sort of classroom dreaming, sort of daydreaming about exotic lands and far-off places and England's history and that sort of thing. But the last album, The Dreaming, was quite a radical departure from that. Now, how do you explain that?
I think it started to happen on the third album, but it was really only in a couple of tracks. And I think things like Breathing, Army Dreamers, The Infant Kiss, they were, in a way, starting on that same route. And I think that's the sort of material, really, that I wanted to try and get to. And on the last album, it was definitely sort of reaching a point where I was feeling pleased with my work artistically, which was a change. I think it's one of the few that I've done that I can actually say I'm quite happy with some of the things we did in it. It's one of those things that when you make a video, quite often the song isn't lending itself to the kind of visual ideas you'd like it to. And with Breathing, I think it had such a strong story that it was easier for us to visualise something that we felt was powerful.
The song sounds like it was built on visual ideas to begin with, to some extent.
I think when I'm writing songs, I do have quite strong visual ideas, but they're not necessarily video visual ideas, if you know what I mean. I
Yes.
think in order to get to a place or to consider yourself in someone else's position, you try to imagine an environment, and I think in some ways you think quite visually about that.
many textures in your work and so many layers of different sounds. And I'm wondering if that's also a principle or a guideline that you also use in your visuals, of trying to put layer things, sometimes very disparate, different things together to get a new sound. And I'm wondering if you use that same approach on the visual side of things for video.
They are very similar processes, but they're not. You know, the way you approach them is completely different. With sound, for me, what I'm trying to create is very much the atmosphere, the mood of what the song has sort of designated. It does. It automatically creates its own personality in a way. And then it's a matter of treating that personality the way that it wants to. Quite often you think of things that would be nice to try on a track, and you put them on and the track just won't accept it. It just won't work. So, you know, there are only certain things it will have. And I think there is very much a layering process that does go on, particularly with some tracks. But visually, it's more, it's not so much a layering process as the jigsaw, you know, putting it all together. It's not quite the same way of layering things up that you do in sound.
Sometimes all these different images almost look surreal. I'm thinking of the roller skaters in the white gowns and the dunce caps. Was that just a neat combination of things, or does it all add up to some point?
I think very much with that one, it was the combination. It was a kind of silly video, really, where we wanted it to be slightly comical, and it was playing with different images of knowledge, really, and lack of knowledge, i.e. people like dunces and jesters, and I think it was a bit of a romp, you know, where there was just loads of people involved, and 1 minute you're here and the next minute you're there, very much just images put together to try and make it fun more than anything.
I see the people working and see it working for them, and so I want to join in, but then I find it heavy.
1800s, it was said that opera was the most perfect art because it combined theater, dance, choreography, and music. Do you think videos have that potential today?
I think much more so than videos. Films are what opera was. Film is the modern version of opera. It incorporates everything, and I'm sure that's why films have such large audiences, and opera doesn't anymore. It's very much an elitist thing. I think films cover all those areas, and I don't know if you've seen the film Amadeus, but
Yes.
that seemed to explain it so perfectly, that because they didn't have things like that then, this was sort of their version of what films are.
Bang goes another kangaroo on the bonnet on the van. Many an Aborigines mistaken for a tree, till you near him on the motorway, the tree begin to breathe. Coming in with the golden light in the morning. It's the Lumina, it's my dented band. The symbolise keep alive the territorial war. Erase the claim the place and say we dig for or dangle dambles in a bottle and push him from the pull of the bush. You'll find them in the road. In the road. Come in with the golden light. In the morning. Come in with the golden light. With no warning. We bring in the rigging. Many an Aborigines mistaken for a tree. You near him on the motorway, the tree began to breathe. Erase the claim the place and say we dig for ore. Dangle devils in a bottle and push 'em from the pull of the bush. Bang goes another kangaroo on the bonnet of the van. You find 'em in the road.